Hello everyone, again. Here I am for one of my talks with, in Portuguese is a conversa com, but this one will be in English, a talk with. And I have a bunch of these talks on my channel. You can watch here, the link for the playlist. And those talks usually are between Portugal and Japan, so I'm currently in Portugal. Pretty much stuck in here because I don't have residency status in Japan, so I can't go back, although my work is there. Well, anyways, lots of people in this situation. I can't go back to Japan, so have been doing for the last few months a bunch of talks with. Usually they are related to art, cultural heritage, tourism, cultural exchange, living abroad, being a foreigner in Japan, being a journalist, how the Japanese society is dealing with the whole big C stuff, which I can't say because my video will be taken down if I do. That's another stuff. That's another thing about making videos independently these days. Anyways, today I will talk with a great dear friend of mine from my heart. I'm kind of moved. I'm kind of emotional about this because last time I talked with her, of course, via internet, was in August. Now we are in November, and yeah. Brief introduction. She's called Ogawa, family name Ogawa-san. She is, and I will say this before admitting her to the Zoom meeting because she will blush or downplay herself as Japanese usually do, but this is not even the best I can say about her. She is the most professional and kind and knowledgeable and friendly but detailed tourist guides in English language in the prefecture of Nagasaki that I know of. And I know a lot of them because from the last 10 years now, I've been studying cultural heritage in Japan and pretty much spend all my time when I am in Japan, I spend all my time in Kyushu and mostly in Nagasaki Prefecture. So I know a bunch of people working in cultural heritage, people working in the shakusho, in the city halls, or in the archaeological sites, or dozens of professionals. And she's the best one, the best as person, the best as professional, and the best as usage of English language. And this is important because a lot of English-speaking foreigners in Japan, which might not even come from English-speaking country, they don't find the information about this kind of detailed stuff in any other language than Japanese. So making the cultural heritage accessible to pretty much most of the foreign nations through having really competent and thorough English-speaking guides is a real challenge in Japan, has been a real challenge in Japan. And she's just amazing. So I will admit her in the Zoom talk, and we will talk about cultural heritage in Nagasaki Prefecture and mostly about the places that are or are not, and that is the thing we will discuss, included in the recent UNESCO recognition of cultural, how do I say it? I know in Portuguese and in Japanese, but not in English. Patrimónios Mundiais da Humanidade. So, humanity, cultural heritage of Nagasaki Prefecture related to the Christian heritage in that prefecture. So we will discuss about it, and she will actually present some new stuff they have been working on in the last months. Sad face, because I haven't been able to be there. And probably the Junrei Center in Nagasaki, which I think is like the center of my world, of course, there. Yeah, we'll talk about all of that. So Ogawa-san is about to get in. It's not even time, and she's waiting already. Amazing. Have a bit of patience with us, please. She's about to get in. This November is terribly hot. Ogawa-san! Hello.
Nice to see you. Hello, how are you?
I'm great. Your sound is kind of low.
Oh, really? Oh, wait a moment. Do you hear me clearly?
Yeah, now it's better.
Okay. So you look fine, but
Yes, I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
You're in your house?
Yes, my
It's a lovely
tatami
living
mat-room.
room.
Thank you. Japanese tatami mat-room. Oh,
It's a
and
lo-
also you behind you, I
Yeah,
see.
I have this, which was a present from a friend of mine.
Ah, I like that phrase.
Yeah, so it's a motivational phrase. You can fall,
Yes,
but you always get back up.
yes. Nice word.
I have my
And,
motivational phrase for this last few months. Those have been
mm,
very hard few months.
oh, why? In your country, you mean?
Well, everywhere, I guess, but mostly with people that work with
Ah,
tourists. How has been
yes.
tourism around there?
Ah, this is the same all over the world, the same. But mm, in domestic, the Japanese government encouraged them to go to travel campaign. So, but in this, how do they like, so anyway, this week, the the number of the COVID cases is increasing. So we worried about that campaign.
Yes.
Even for the tour. But from the October to November, so many people started being all around Japan, not to the foreign countries.
It's also a very high season for traveling because of the turning of the color of the leaves and everything
Yes,
gets really, really pretty.
yes. But compared to the normal days, so the number is also decreasing, but still, so some people started to travel, but at the same time, the cases is increasing. So today, in Japan, more than roughly 2,000 people are positive, had tested positive all over Japan. But in Nagasaki, just one case. So
Yes. That's one of
how
the
does it?
good It's one of the good things of not being a hotspot for tourism.
Mm, mm.
Things
How
can
about you?
develop slowly.
Yes.
And you have been working on a very exciting new project.
Yes. So because nobody, no tours, yes, all of the tours from foreign countries are canceled. So we are planning the virtual tour, online tour.
Mhm.
So along, so with the members of our association, Kyushu Interpreter Guide and the Translator Associations. So
At the end of this month, right?
yes, November 28th. This is the first budget tour we are, making, planning,
It's
and
only
also.
for the members of that association.
Oh, no. Anybody can register. Anybody, all from all over the world. So please join us.
So that's one of the things that I wanted to make clear for the people who are going to watch us on the
Oh,
video. If they want to register, they can register, right?
yes.
Okay.
Anybody can
So I will
register.
make sure this video will go up on YouTube before the event. The event, I guess, is 28th of November, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so this video will go up this Friday. So it will be like, let me check the calendar, but it will be like the 20th. So you still have 1 week to register and to go
Thank you.
and see this
Thank you
event.
so much. I hear about it. I feel very nervous. I'll be on
No,
your
don't
YouTube
feel.
channel.
You're great.
Thank you.
The people that this is such a niche audience that the people that watch these videos, they already like them before they watch them because they are already very interested in Japanese culture. So
Mm,
like
mm,
the only ones that find that channel are the ones who are really interested about it.
mm.
So don't be.
Oh, okay. So,
So the
like we
event,
do. Mm-hmm.
yeah, the event is
Sorry?
open for everyone who wants to watch.
Ah, yes,
And
yes.
so a lot of guides from Kyushu, they will present their tours. Am I right?
Oh, I'll be your guide. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You will be the guide. Only you or other guides?
Oh, and regarding the tour, which will be held on the November 20th, this is the first our virtual tour by our association, and the place, the tour destination is the Sotome area in Nagasaki. So
Okay.
I'll be a guide for that tour.
It will be detailed only in Sotome.
Yes, we would focus on the Sotome area, but we would start a tour from Nagasaki City Center. But because I wanted to start the tour showing the special drawing. Maybe you have seen that already when you come to Nagasaki.
Where in Nagasaki?
The drawing, do you remember the Our Lady of Snow?
Yes.
Special drawing, which was drawn by Japanese Christian in the 16th century. And it was kept in the bamboo case at the hidden Christian's house in Sotome. And it was discovered later in the modern times. So that we would focus on the hidden Christian history in Sotome, but we will start the tour from 26 Matos Museum because that drawing was kept in that museum.
Exactly. That's the same thing I do. And I actually
Good.
have, yes, I actually have a YouTube video on this channel explaining why I think that the 26 Martyrs Museum is the place to start any Christian tour.
Oh, really?
Yes. So it's like either if you go to Goto or if you go to Hirado or if you go to any other place, I feel like you should start there. You should do the guided tour to that museum and if possible to actually spend some time there getting all the context because I feel it's a place that is very educational setting. You have the
Yes.
artifacts, you have the information, you have a lot of sources also in multiple languages. You have a small library, people can buy books, they can buy DVDs in multiple
Yes.
languages. And also the setting, the place itself, and the way it is positioned in the city of Nagasaki. It's very easy for people to understand the geography of the
Yes. Right.
and how things evolve within the city, and also the value of that place as a hotspot, as I would say, of the understanding of Christian history in all of the prefecture. So it's such a charged place, either in emotional value and also in information, that I feel like it should all the tours should start there. And
Oh,
actually, I have another video on this channel about that. I'm very glad that you choose to start there as well. Although they also have a small museum, so to speak, in Sotome, and they do have small museums in many other places, and they have, even if they're not a traditional sense of museum as Western style museums, but they are sort of learning rooms or learning places where you can sit and rest and talk to other people and look at some documents, look at some findings, archaeological findings, and also remains and artwork. And usually they get the community involved, and members of the community feel like because they have that room or that house, even if it's just a room, they feel like they are more visible. People are more aware of their existence. So some of those so-called museums, or we would call it interpretative centers, are important too. But I feel that starting really
yeah.
a very good choice.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. So in the real tour, also we would start from the 20th Smart Museum as much as possible. But if the Japanese, travel agent is organize travels, sometimes we cannot do that. But for, if I can make arrangement for the, FIT group, so I would choose the 20th Matos Museum first. And of course, as you mentioned, when we visit Sotomo area, when you visit small museum, you remember the Hidden Christian Culture Museum,
Exactly.
organized by the Mr. Matsukawa-san, the Hidden Christian descendants. So we will see that. So as you mentioned, we can feel how the local peoples are thinking about that history and so on. So that we will definitely visit them. But we will start from the 20th Matos Museum. But, you know, these budgets were only just 1 hour. So,
Wow.
so I cannot explain all of them in detail. But the one of the aiming of this budget tour is encourage the people to come to Nagasaki.
Of course.
So just the essence of the touring in Sotomo and Nagasaki, I can show you, even if it's just 1 hour. So, so I cannot explain for detailed information, detailed history as we talk.
For hours and hours.
You know, we cannot stop talking. So anyway, well, anyway, and also so that anybody can enjoy that tour, even if they don't have basic information or not. So
it's very important to have a sort of introduction level tour. Many people need that level of the introduction. And of course, they can always ask questions and eventually be aware of another tourist.
Oh, yes.
And in the future, go to Nagasaki.
Yes. That's our aiming. That's our purpose.
And this one will be conducted in English as well.
Yes. Basically, I will guide in English. But sometimes Matsukawa-san and Sister Akasako, you remember Sister Akasako?
I don't know if it was her, but I met the sister when I was there.
Yeah. Yes, we talked. You interviewed her. And so they will speak Japanese some occasionally, so I will translate or put the English subtitles, simple subtitles. So basically, the guide in English or translating.
So it will be very accessible for everyone. Don't forget, you still have 1 week to make sure you get in that tour. But we're quick.
And so I make...
Sure,
yes.
Go ahead.
So if you'd like to register, please search for our website, KITG, Kyushu Interpreter and Guide and Translator Association. And
I can put the description on the video description. I can put the link for you to access.
Yeah, thank you. And so please, anyway, send us your contact information by email. So if you cannot search for the website, anyway, please send us your contact information by email. Email address, please write down later. I'll show you. Let you know. The jigyobu at k/itg.or.jp. So, and please send us your information from number 1 to 6, your name, number 1 to 5, your name and address, and telephone number, and email address to send you the link. Because this online tour will be held by Zoom meeting, and nationality, I mean, in which country you're living now, not nationality. So then we will send you an invoice with a square if you live in foreign countries. So the tour, it costs 2,000 Japanese yen.
So it's 2,000. So it's about in dollars and in euro, it's about $20, I guess.
Yes, roughly.
20 euros.
It costs per one device, one computer or tablet, any device, not per person. Yes.
So you can even join the family around.
Oh, it's okay. And also, if because of the time lag, it will be hard for you to watch on time. The tour will be recorded for viewing at a later time, and it will send you if you register in advance.
Perfect. I guess it's a perfect organization.
Thank you.
It's really
And
good.
also, that is basically live, but maybe as you know, some part of, for example, inside the mountain, it's harder to access. So we have already recorded some part, but basically from Sotome area, it will be on live.
That will be great. And anyways, don't worry if you don't understand the links or the email, because Ogawa-san will send me by message the email address and I will put on the description box so you can just copy and paste on your email and send them.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, but maybe you know a lot about the hidden Christian history, but how about the
General
audience?
population. No, I don't think they know about it. I don't think they know about it, especially if they're foreigners and they are very keen about Japanese culture. They encounter first the traditional Japanese culture. And this is, of course, as you deal with every day, this is something that is not mainstream Japanese culture. It's
Right.
somewhat, even today, is somewhat of a taboo. Some people don't like to talk about it. And for that, many different reasons. Some of them is because they don't actually know a lot about it. So they don't want to talk because they don't want to hurt other people's feelings, or they don't want to say anything mistaken or wrong. Some of them don't talk about it because they are descendants or of Eden Christians, and they do have a very personal relationship with this history. So there are a lot of different reasons why this information hasn't reached the status of being openly accepted and being discussed openly and being present in the history books of Japan widely. So at the same time, we have UNESCO World Heritage status and knowledge being very, very limited spread and limited known by the general population, which is somewhat contradictory, but it's actually how things are going now.
So maybe even for Japanese, the hidden is not good image, you know, but actually they are not hidden.
Yeah.
They are living as a citizen.
Yes.
They are working as a citizen and they used to pay taxes. So they are not hiding in the mountain, but in remote areas, so they were living from the city center because it was easier for them to, underground as a hidden Christian. But they were not hiding actually. So, and I must say, wanted to show that history more precisely.
There's a very particular, I think it's a very specific cultural trait about Japanese society all throughout modern times. So from the 17th century up until the 19th century, which is the definition of you having a very formal, ruled country in which things are clear and set in stone and with specific rules. And then you have a sort of informal, not so much controlled society. So some of the things that actually existed, like the hidden Christians, but not just the hidden Christians, they were not, how would I say, because there is no equivalent in the Western society at all about this, which is the fact that you do have a sort of separation between society. You have like the bunraku, have a group of people that are kind of separated from the rest of the society, and you have the so-called hidden Christians that were separated from the rest of the society as well. But as long as they obeyed to the general rule at the time, meaning if they were registered in the Buddhist temples, if they pay, that was the main thing. They need to be registered in the Buddhist temples, and they pay their taxes. And in the general society, they were not very visible in the sense that they will not openly performing Christian ceremonies. So they were
Right.
obeying by the law. So formally, in terms of
Yes.
image, they were perfect Japanese. And because of that, that was the only thing that mattered. That's why, I mean, you have like a surface and a deepness, and the deepness
Yes.
goes deeper and deeper. And as long as at the surface you look ordinary and the same as everyone else, you can exist, even if at the deepest you are profoundly different.
Mm. So that, yes, you're right. In the formality, so if they would step on Fumie tablet with a Christian image, and they said, in the formality, I'm saying I'm a Buddhist, belong to some Buddhist temples. That is the Japanese rule at the time, and to keep the order in their society, especially in the Edo period, the 18th century, 17th century, 18th century, it was okay. So even if the authority noticed, maybe they have some other religious belief, it was okay. But that happened in Japan. But as you know, when the persecution had started, the situation is different. It is very, very severe persecution. But for long years to keep the order in Edo period, so it was okay. But after Japan opened the country, so actually the priests would come back to Japan from France, and they were overjoyed, and they would not be able to the disguise as a Buddhist anymore. And they open to public, we have the same heart as you do, we have a Christian. So the severe persecution started again.
Yes, that's
So,
why
mm,
the most intense and cruel persecutions
mm,
actually
yes,
occurred right at the end of the 19th century, at the
mm-hmm,
same time when Japan was presumably becoming a very westernized society in the beginning of the
yes,
Meiji period.
yes. That is the Meiji government's policy. So it's strange, but they would like to unify Japan in the name of the Shinto. They choose that. So, but it was, criticized by international society, and they got freedom of religion at last. And so that we call that discovery of a hidden Christian, which was discovered by French priests. But for the hidden Christian, that was the discovery of priest, because for more than 7 generations, the hidden Christian have been waiting for them. But not all of them. Depends on the region.
Yes,
Depends on the
because some of
regions.
them choose to separate from the other.
Yes. Yes, and the Sotome is the Sotome group. Oh, maybe too much information before the tour, but Sotome area. I don't have the map right now, but あるかな? So I wanted to share the picture.
So to put in context, Sotomi area is part of the Nagasaki prefecture and is about maybe 45 minutes by car
Yeah,
from
ほら、
Nagasaki station.
地図がない。地図がない。Well, so in Sotome area, in the city center area and the Goto Islands area, they have the same group. And they believe after 7 generations, the priests will come back so that they can do the confess anytime. The reason why priests watch our virtual tour, I would not explain too much information, so nobody would join our tour. So, but another area, Hirado area, a little bit different. This part of the explanation, maybe I don't have enough time, so I will explain today. Yeah, and another area, Hirado area. So very early they went underground because of the policy of that area, Matsuura clan. So the ritual style is very different, and they didn't know about the prophecy, and they didn't have the liturgical calendar. But on the virtual tour, I'll show you the the liturgical calendar, which had been, passed down to generation by hidden Christian on
Yeah,
November 20th.
for the people following us, and they might not be very aware how things happen in Japan. So because there were different steps of the prohibition of Christianity and the control towards the Christianity in Japan. So at the beginning, the control was set towards the missionaries and priests and the foreigners were actually expelled. And then the control was, the eyes of the control forces, meaning the government and religious authorities and civil authorities, would set above the Japanese themselves. So from the point where the foreigners were expelled, most of the Western history books and history researchers and teachers and so on, they don't talk any more about Japan. They assume that Christianity in Japan has ended or something, but that was not the case. The Japanese citizens continued to have to deal with this issue, and the way they dealt with this issue was very different considering where they were, the place, and who they were, and what was their status in Japanese society, meaning a sort of caste system. So if they were samurai, it was different from if they were peasants or so on. So in some places, the local lord, the daimyo, had more power, and some other places, the religious authorities had more power. So depending on the power struggle, the conditions in which the Japanese Christians had to live were different. So in some places, they could register in Buddhist temple, and as you said, kind of step on the fumie and formally say, I am a Buddhist, has a sort of trick or as a sort of play, because they were not really believing in it, but they had to do it in order to stay alive. And they did it, and the local Buddhist priests, they sort of understood those people still Christians and maintained their faith, and sometimes they hid statues of Christianity within the Buddhist temple, inside the Buddhist temple. This actually happened in some of them, or they draw crosses in specific places of the village, and they went there to pray or to meditate. So the religious authorities and in somewhat the civil authorities, they were aware of these groups. They in the sense that you said, the fact of being hidden, as the name said, it doesn't mean being completely hidden, like completely unaware of at all.
No,
I'm glad you said
no,
that.
no. So the many, the one was the reason why some former hidden Christian would not rejoin the Catholic. So after opening the country, many former hidden Christian rejoined the Catholic Church held by French priests, but some people couldn't. One of the reasons why is that, as I mentioned, the Buddhist, priests, Buddhist priests, they supported them for long years, and they could not, apart from the Buddhist temple. That's one of the reasons. And also sometimes they could not abandon the ancestors' grave site in Buddhist way. So, yes.
So this is a very rich and enriching subject, which I feel like it's very important for everyone to get to know, because there's a lot of things about Japanese history and Japanese society that we actually get to understand more deeply if we study the subject. So it's not just about if you like the history of Christianity, if you are one of those people that enjoy learning about different religions and stuff. It's more about you get to know Japan and Japanese from a completely different perspective, and I feel like in much more depth if you deal with a controversial topic like this one. Because if you deal with a topic in which everyone agrees and there's like one viewpoint, it's easier. It's like, but Christianity in Japan is a very complex issue. It's an issue that has sometimes contradictory interpretations, and it's
Yes.
also evolving as we speak, because the research is being made as we speak in the last few years.
Mm.
Everything is very
So,
recent.
right. So depends on the researcher, depends on the professor. Their perspective and the view, point of view are slightly different. Some of it is very different. So I really enjoy discussing about it over with you.
Yeah,
Yeah. Mm. But
definitely.
so for the tourist, as much as possible, I will explain in simple and basic information as much as possible. Maybe on the virtual tour, which will be held on December 28th, I will do that. So not so deep like this, not so deep like this. But anyway, I just hope they would enjoy the beautiful scenery of Sotomayor area, and also one part of the, one phase or one part of the hidden Christian history. So very, very special history, I think. So for more than 2 centuries, the hidden Christian descendants were survived, and it was discovered. And now in Nagasaki Prefecture, very small prefecture, the population is just 1.3 million. But and also, but in this small prefecture, there are more than 130 Catholic churches. And so the 14% of all Catholic people are living in Nagasaki. So in Nagasaki
Almost half
Prefecture,
of it. And the church,
14,
14, no,
half
14. No,
yeah, because
14.
because the population is very small here. And in all over Japan, there are 3 dioceses: Tokyo, Osaka, because of the big population, and Nagasaki. Yeah.
And if we
And
compare the size of Tokyo and Osaka with Nagasaki, we can see how special that is.
yeah, very small. Yeah, and also you know, what I was talking about, the population, the church
The
number.
number of Christians. One of the things
Yeah,
that
number of
I
Christians.
was very impressed all throughout the prefecture of Nagasaki and even inside the city of Nagasaki is the size of the churches. So if you just walk around the city, or if around the prefecture, or if you take the train even, you have this site that is a very familiar site for someone that comes from Europe, someone that comes from Southern Europe, as I do in Portugal. You have this very familiar site of looking at a
Oh,
town, even if it is a small town, by the sea, kind of port fishing town. And the town is always arranged around the church. And the structure of the town itself looks very familiar to us, because you have like the tower of the church, the main building. In front of it, you have the main square. Usually you have shops or restaurants around the main square. Then you have the rest of the houses and schools and buildings and stuff. And then usually you have the port and the boats and the fishermen.
yes.
So the structure of these towns all throughout the coastline of Nagasaki Prefecture, which is a very intricate coastline, it goes deeper and outer a
Right.
lot like that. And you have this many towns that always look like this. And it feels very, very familiar. And the fact that you have the bells ringing, the hours,
Church bell, yes.
the church bell
3 times a
ringing, the
day.
hours, like the Ave Maria times, and it feels strangely familiar. So it's like you do have the feeling that you are in a different part of Japan.
Yes, many people said, yeah, and a very different atmosphere. And the similar things I heard from another Portuguese guest. Oh, it looks like Lisbon, they say.
Ancient Lisbon.
Ancient Lisbon, maybe. So that because especially Nagasaki City, the first town near the port was created by Christian. Because the Portuguese found out, oh, this is a very big, deep, and nice port. It was discovered by Portuguese and became the Christian town. Christian people migrated from another city, and also on top of the Cape. So
So
and
6
a lot.
towns.
Yes. Yes,
Six
6
towns,
towns.
all 6 towns meaning 6 communities
Yes,
from
yes,
different
from
Christian
other
areas.
area, and the first city was created. Oh, now maybe you know the former side of prefecture government, the
Is in
first Portuguese,
construction work. I know.
first Portuguese and a Jesuit Edo church was constructed, and the system was created. Now in the modern time, the prefecture government office had been built, but it was demolished, and now they're doing the excavation research.
Yes,
I
they're
went,
doing
I went
archaeological site research.
yes. So they're discussing how they would utilize that area, what kind of facilities they will build or not. So they're discussing now.
So there is still a chance of them to turning that area in a sort of museum-like area.
Maybe, but maybe not big museum, because they layered many history, not only church. After church was demolished, the magistrate office was built, and then prefecture government. So, and also the military, facilities and so on. So,
When you say
maybe
magister office, you're talking about the Bungyo.
Bugyo, yes, Bugyo. You know everything about it.
No, because I need to explain that, because most of Japanese cities during the Edo period did not have Bungyo. So this is
Yes,
exclusive
right,
for
right.
Nagasaki. So
Because
meaning
Nagasaki, yes, it was not a castle town, so there's a Bugyo magistrate. Yes, so governed directly by the government. So,
the Tokugawa shogunate created a local government, sort of middle government between the Tokugawa shogunate and the civil servants of Nagasaki city. So instead of having like the city being governed by civil servants that had to respond towards a higher rank daimyo, and then the daimyo had a rank daimyo and so on until you reach the Tokugawa shogun himself.
They were
Instead of
elite.
that structure, which was the normal structure of all other Japan, in Nagasaki you had Bungyo, which meant that the Tokugawa shogunate had direct access and direct saying and ruled over all of the decisions in Nagasaki after they expelled the Christians. So when that was their way to recapture the governance of the city. So it means, in terms of how do you interpret history, means that the central government that was being formed at the time felt like they needed to control the city more, because they felt like the city was, in de facto, realistically speaking, have been governing itself for too long. So people were not likely to obey unless they were controlled very heavily.
Right. Yes, right. You know everything about the Japanese society system. Much better than
No, it's not that I know. It's just that I'm very used to explain.
But so the Nagasaki was under control of the shogunate, and but the trading had been permitted. The official trading had been permitted, but when the Christianity,
So as we were talking previously, it's very interesting the fact that you have such a huge percentage of Christians in Nagasaki still, and you can, even if you just walk the city as a tourist or a visitor, you see these huge churches, and they are really big inside. So you feel like the community that gets together in those churches are still big. And I was impressed with the size of the churches, because even in Western countries, churches are getting smaller and smaller, meaning that the community that uses them, it's getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, but in Nagasaki as well, in the city, the population is compared to the small city, still we have, so the community is big. Especially in the city center, or even in suburb, there is a big communities. For example, the commuting town. But for example, in Goto Islands, still they have communities, but the same things. The population is decreasing, so younger generation is moving to the bigger city. So
Yes.
the number of the church is decreasing. Church buildings still, but
church buildings, it still exists, but local migration is affecting those areas very dramatically. So usually only old people still remain in those villages. Right. The youngsters all move to mainland, so to speak. They move to Kyushu Island, or they move to Tokyo, or other central area in order to work and develop their lives. So this is the cultural heritage is also very much affected with, of course, the movements of the population within the Japanese territory.
So the part 3, I think the Register of the World Heritage Sites help them to keep the culture and the historical church buildings. So I hope it will be affected in good way. Good way. Yeah.
Do you feel that it can create jobs and develop local economy?
I hope so, but not so much. Like, like Wonder Trunk, that new travel agent started to the new, new service or the new shop. But I hope the local people are living in those areas started to do that kind of things, more related to that. But for example, in Sotome area, was not so many new business has not started. I don't know it is good or bad.
It's still a challenge.
So then,
but it's a challenge that we all face. How to make people choose a place to live and work and develop.
Very nice place. There are many nice places to live and work. So in Goto Islands, the population is, the people who migrated, it's increasing in Goto Islands, especially in the lower part of the Goto. But in Sotome area, not so many. But near Sotome area, or Seto area, you know, a little bit south part of the, a little bit, the population is increasing. But compared to other World Heritage sites, like, なんだろう、どこだろう。白川郷 also, the younger generation to come back to maintain the old houses and run the shop or restaurant, but that things not happening in Nagasaki, not so much.
We need to think about it more deeply, more time. What can we do about it?
Yeah. Yeah. I hope you come back to Japan next year.
Oh my God, I miss everyone so much.
Yeah. And also that this is a private information to you, but that during the pandemic, I cleaned up the former kids' room, and that can be used as a guest bedroom, so you can stay at my home.
Oh my God, I'm gonna move there.
It's okay. And also, we have 2 beds which is not in use, so you can bring your husband as well.
Don't say that again, because I'm going.
It's okay.
And then we'll be able to talk all night.
All night, yes. That's my aim.
And discuss about books. And when our husbands came back, we will be like with panda eyes and a lot of books in our hands.
Yeah, it's exciting, right?
Completely. I feel like there's a lot of work to do still, and I kind of feel like that's a good thing, because we can still develop this perspective. And there are a lot of other issues that we haven't even discussed about. Maybe we will have to set up another Zoom meeting later, because this one, this Zoom meeting was mainly to let you know about the event.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. So
we will have to set up another Zoom meeting and
record it,
because there are issues that me and Ogawa-san are always talking about, which is like should we develop tours more in the perspective of tourism, or should the tours be developed more in the perspective of pilgrimage, and respecting the fact that those are pilgrimage sites and there's a religious history and an emotional and spiritual bond between the place and the message.
Right.
So that is another issue that we are always talking about. And the fact that a lot of these topics are controversial and they involve death and torture and suffering, and how that is viewed within Japanese society. And because everyone working in cultural heritage want to develop the sites and want to develop local economies and want to help the people living there. But at the same time, we're dealing with very heavy stuff and how to balance the information and the heaviness of the issues.
Can I talk just one more thing?
Sure.
So related to your now, and thank you for mentioning about that. So I think if we visit Nagasaki, so maybe not only the sad history. So this is the things that people overcame or trying to overcome the hardship and habits disparity, and now we can ecumenical service is held, for example, and Buddhist temple, Shinto, and Catholic Church are standing in same city and no conflict. So if there's some problem between them, but they're trying to overcome, and also they have overcome. So that is a beautiful point of the pilgrimage, and anybody from all over the world can find out the solution of the big problem, if I say the big things. But so that is one of the points, not only the sad part.
Of course.
The beautiful part I'd show you.
Yeah, the issue of reconciliation is a very important issue.
It's also reconciliation. I wanted to show this.
Yes.
Say that.
There are usually things like photo exhibitions, community ceremonies. There are a lot of events leading towards working on reconciliation between these different communities. And this is usually made at the level of the community itself, not coming from local government, not coming from big institutions. It's something that the local communities feel they need to work on. So it's not like you only have places to visit. You also have experience to acknowledge, and you also have information about how is this being made in one particular issue, in one particular part of the world. But the topic of reconciliation is important all throughout the world. And probably wherever you are, if you are from South America, if you are from China, if you are from wherever you are, probably your country or your community also have reconciliation issues to work on. So this is something like I feel it's important for people to actually experience firsthand and then bring home to their own country and realize
in any
what they
country.
can do.
Yes, in any country, in any history, in any, so any problem they have. So thank you. So almost 1 hour already. So
yes,
anyway,
we will have to stop recording this one.
This one. Next time we do.
But we will set our agendas so we can record the next one. See?
Okay, I will send you the email address and the website address later.
Yes, so information for the virtual tour on the 28th of November. You can virtually be in Nagasaki Prefecture and enjoy Ogawa-san excellent guided tour.
Thank you so much. And anyway, thank you, Ines.
Thank you. Go to sleep. Have a very restful night.
I take a bus and go to bed. So thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.